What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Thanksgiving Day 2025 here in America. So happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of my American friends and viewers of the channel. Hopefully you're having a fantastic Thanksgiving Day and you're spending time with friends and family and giving thanks for everything that you are thankful for in this world. Now, when it comes to the channel, I like to review a beer that invokes the holiday spirit, and I believe today's beer does exactly that. So the beer that I'm reviewing today is yet another collaboration beer, this time between the Greenport Harbor Brewing Company, and they're out of both Greenport and Peconic, New York, and Root Branch Brewing, and they're out of Copiague, New York, and this is their Leaf Pile Pie. So this is an Imperial Pumpkin Ale that comes in at 8.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, I don't know exactly how old this can is, but I do believe it is relatively fresh, and that's because this one was sent to me by a friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Sean. So huge thanks to Sean for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he sent my way, and he sent me 2 beers. This, along with Prairie Artisan Ale's Cheesecake Marty, which is this big Imperial bourbon barrel-aged Imperial cheesecake stout. When I did the unboxing, I knew right when I saw this one, this was going to be the beer that I'm reviewing for Thanksgiving. When it comes to Thanksgiving, you know, I like all the food, you know, for Thanksgiving dinner and whatnot, but dessert is where it's at for me, and I love myself some pumpkin pie. So when I saw this, I was like, all right, this is basically like an Imperial Pumpkin Ale. I'm into it. They do brew and I think it's just Greenport Harbor, it's not a collaboration. They have is it a leaf pile ale? And that's just like their regular, I think it's like 5.3, 5.4% regular pumpkin ale. But then they got together with Root Branch and decided to do an Imperial Pumpkin Ale and add a lot of different adjuncts. So this one is brewed with Madagascar vanilla beans, cocoa nibs, Vietnamese cinnamon, lactose, and brown sugar. A lot of things going on. The only thing I dislike from that adjunct list is both lactose and vanilla. I just spit everywhere. It's cool. Happens. If you do lactose and vanilla, I think sometimes it's too sweet. It's a little bit too much. And a lot of times I get vanilla from lactose. And a lot of times with vanilla, I get marshmallows. So I'm thinking like, it might just be too much, but that's just me looking at the ingredients list. I know Sean really enjoyed this one. He had a tag on here, like a little writing. And he said, what do you say, vanilla frosting? Or like, I think he said, yeah, like vanilla frosting, which I could see. So I have never had I've never reviewed a beer from Greenport Harbor. I've had a couple on the channel. So this is the first, you would think that I would have like an intro done. I mean, this is all off the top of my dome piece as I'm speaking right now, but I have had a couple beers from Greenport Harbor, but I've never reviewed them on the channel. Is that better? You know, it's Thanksgiving Day. I'm just going to settle down. I'm not going to get upset. It happens. Not going to reshoot the intro. You know why? Because mistakes happen, like my channel as a whole. Anyway, so let's crack this one open. Again, I don't know how fresh this is. I looked on their Instagram. It seems they released this on October 5th of this year. I don't know if Sean got this year's version or this is maybe a prior year's version. So Sean, if you want to post in the comment section, let me know. If it's this year's version, this is just over 6 weeks old. Anyway, let's give it a pour into the Elysian Brewing Company's, what is this? The Pour the Gourd glass that I use all the time for the 10 Days of Pumpkin. Oh yeah, that's looking real nice. Ladies and gentlemen, that looks like a beautiful pumpkin beer. Wow. In this glass, this looks absolutely sensational. That looks beautiful. Exactly what I want from a pumpkin beer. No doubt. Wow. So you turn it around to the back here and you look at it. And yeah, so it has a decent clarity. When I shine this into your, yeah, see, you can see, you can probably make out the, at the very least, yeah, you can see like the shadow, maybe make out my hand slightly. So it has a little bit of murk to it, but it has that beautiful like rust color, like that deep burnt orange that you want from a pumpkin beer. 2 fingers of this straight up tan colored head. You could say khaki. I'm gonna say more like a tan. Good carbonation, hold up to light, decent carbonation for sure. There are very fine particulates. You won't be able to see them. I can barely see them, but they're definitely there suspended in animation. So this looks like an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous pumpkin ale. Imperial Pumpkin Ale. Let's get a nose. Yeah, that smells good. It smells like a pumpkin pie, whipped cream and all. So, or maybe like a pumpkin like cheesecake, because that vanilla is strong. I can see what Sean was saying about like the vanilla frosting, or like almost like a maybe like a pumpkin cupcake. Big vanilla vibes. Doesn't smell like it's going to be like cloying and overly sickly sweet. But big vanilla, huge cinnamon from that Vietnamese cinnamon. The cocoa nibs I'm getting a little bit of like this chocolate, but it's definitely like straight on like a really like 40, 50, 60% like cacao bar, I should say. Yeah, but there's big brown sugar, caramelized sugar, so caramel-toffee, nice breadiness, a little bit of like a graham cracker going on. The easiest way to really describe this one is someone took a pumpkin pie, whipped cream and all, graham cracker crust, jammed it into a glass, and then they put like another swirl of whipped cream on it, because it definitely has a vanilla, a dominating vanilla kind of nose. But it's not over the top. I actually like it quite a bit. 8.5, I get a little bit of like, not booze, but like you can tell it's a little bit bigger as far as the ABV is concerned. I just love on the can too. It just says right here, it says pastry, pumpkin, pleaser, pumpkin pastry. They don't even say it's like Imperial Pumpkin Ale, but like it basically is. Anyway, it smells really delicious. I would totally and happily drink a can of this based on the nose for dessert on Thanksgiving Day. Anyway, let's get into it. Thanks again, Sean. Cheers. Yeah, that's good. It is not crazy sweet. They're calling pastry. There's a bunch of adjuncts in here that would scream sweet to me, but is it sweet? Sure, it has a sweetness to it. Most pumpkin ales do. But it's not overly sweet. And I can see, again, the vanilla frosting thing is like the finish for me. But this is like higher side of medium, lower side of full, 8.5%, right in the realm of what I want. The mouthfeel, it has a nice moderate carbonation, but still remains smooth and actually quite creamy. I love the combination of the body and mouthfeel being a little bit thicker with a nice creaminess, but still retaining a pretty solid carbonation. After 2 sips, the glass lacing's looking pretty nice. The taste, the nose carried over, forefront. I'm getting a lot of like, I said in the nose, it was more like graham cracker, but right up front I get like a dark brown bread, like a pumpernickel or something like that. And it hits me right at the forefront, dives underneath the palate. As it passes through, I do get pretty big, a pretty big chocolate character. It's, again, more of like a more bittering dark chocolate, like a 50% cacao bar, but it's there, which is kind of different. It almost, it's like you had a pumpkin pie with the whipped cream, but then like a chocolate drizzle on it, like Hershey syrup, no, but like something that's more artisan and a little bit less sweet. But there are a lot, there's more spices than just cinnamon here for me. I'm getting cinnamon, a little bit of like nutmeg and ginger. So it has that pumpkin pie spice kind of taste. Midway through the palate is where I get a lot of like brown sugar and caramel. It has like the meat, so to speak, of the pumpkin pie, where it has that caramelized, sweeter kind of feel to it. And then on the finish is where the vanilla hits, and it's vanilla, it's whipped cream, you could even say marshmallow, but it has that frosting. So again, to reference Sean for like the 4th time in this review about the frosting, because it's fresh in my mind of, you know, what was on, he had the little note on the can. It's not overbearing, but it adds like a little desserty, pastry-esque kind of feel to this. Again, I want to stress, this is not crazy sweet to me. It's very drinkable. This is bone dry, and I'm getting, and a lot of times with these pumpkin beers, I will get like a dryness that I perceive to be from the spices. So like this has a nice like cinnamon dryness on the finish, or you could even say like a ginger kind of dryness. It's great because it's bone dry. Yes, it's sweet up front, but that dryness really helps. Mildly bitter, but more dry than anything. This is like 60-40 sweetness to dryness. So again, it leans a little sweet, but it's not cloying whatsoever. 8.5%, listen, outside of the intensity of the flavors and the body, I can't tell you this is 8.5. Almost no alcohol is noticeable anywhere. I'm getting a very slight warming in the chest, nothing on the palate. It hides it quite well. I will say the one, I guess, all right, let me take another sip. Again, the glass lacing is simply sensational. I guess the one thing that I would say about this one is that maybe for 8.5%, it lacks a little bit in the flavor. Like I would expect an abundance and an explosion of, different kinds of flavors that are very intense. This is way more like reserved and laid back on the palate based on the ingredients and the ABV than I was anticipating. But it's kind of that trade-off of like, if it was too over the top, this would be like a sharing beer, or like I'm one and done. I probably don't want to go back to this. As is, I'm going to crush the rest of this glass, and I could drink a couple. I wouldn't, but I could. I think this has a great balance to it, which really helps it. But at the same time, I was expecting a little bit more of a flavor explosion for the ABV. So they kind of cancel each other out. Yes, it's more drinkable, but I would like a little bit more flavor. But as a whole, like I get most of the adjuncts. It's very well balanced, good body mouthfeel. What's not to like here? This is tasty. I'm not going to go super high in the score because it's not my favorite pumpkin beer of all time or anything, but it's a well put together, very good, into almost great pumpkin, Imperial Pumpkin Ale for me. So very good collaboration between Greenport Harbor and Root Branch. So yeah, for their leaf pile pie, Sean, please let me know if this is the 2025 release or maybe an earlier. I don't know if this is the first time they released this year. That's the thing. I don't know almost nothing about this beer, so I don't know if they released it for the first time in 2025 or maybe they released it in prior years. Let me know, Sean, because you didn't mention it, but I would assume this is from this year. The adjuncts and like that cinnamon, definitely noticeable. I would think if this is over a year old, I probably wouldn't pick up on that. But maybe it is because it has a little bit of again, it's not as intense on the palate, but I don't know. Regardless, this is a straight up 4.25 out of 5. This is a tasty pumpkin ale, Imperial Pumpkin Ale. Really good collaboration between those two breweries. And I just love the balance of this one, and the body and mouthfeel really win me over. So a really good pumpkin beer, and I'm happy I got the chance to try it. So thanks again, Sean. Price point availability, I have absolutely zero ideas. If you want to throw out, Sean, what you paid for it, maybe you got in a trade, whatever, I would pay upwards of $6 for that can. If it came in 4-packs, I wouldn't want it to be more than like $18 to $20, so like $4.55 a can. It is 8.5%, all those ingredients. But I think Greenport is in Long Island, I'm pretty sure. So you're not that far from New York City. You're closer to New York City, probably a little bit more expensive. I don't really know, but if anybody does know out there, let me know. Like I said, around $4 to $5 a can would be nice. That'd be my preference. And availability, it's Greenport Harbor. I do know they get on halftime beverage. Obviously, if you're in and around New York City and probably maybe even a little bit upstate, maybe to like the capital region, maybe you get your hands on it. I don't think I've seen any of their beer here in Buffalo, New York, although I've never actually looked for it. I don't ever see them on the shelves, so I'm not saying they don't get into Buffalo, New York, but as far as I know, I have not seen them here. Root Branch, you can order online and have it delivered from their brewery here in Buffalo. So yeah, anyway, I don't know if this will be the last pumpkin beer of the season, but one of the last, if not the last. So if so, I went out with a bang, and if not, we'll see what else we have on hand. So once again, huge thanks to Sean for this beer. I'm probably going to review the Prairie one in the next month or two. I don't want to have it age too much because it has a bunch of adjuncts. But yeah, I'm really happy I reviewed this one for Thanksgiving. If you're here in America and you're celebrating Thanksgiving today, like I said, I hope it's a great one. Stuff in your face, but also giving thanks at the same time, having fun with friends and family, maybe not having as much fun with friends and family. Who knows, right? Watching some football, that's what I'll be doing. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to shut this one down. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there. And until the next one, cheers.